car and I'm over here. I don't know, but it was a powerful one, and it went with one of these. And I went, wow, he's really angry at me. But here's the thing that I went, because one of the things I work on is I want to be a responder. I don't want to be a reactor. So for me to take the moment to say, not justify, like he's probably having a really bad day, and he's, like all that, because that's not going to work either, but just to go, wow, with such curiosity. And I said to Rita, I decided that I was going to let him have his poison. I wasn't going to take his poison into my field. I can't do it. Because if I had reacted the way I would have, then I would have been filled with that same energy. I might as well have flipped him back because, do you like the way I'm doing? But anyway, my point is that there is that responding and that learning and that remembering. When we are behaving in a way that doesn't serve, we are making ourselves, and I want to repeat this to myself, if only I hear it, it will make you sick. That is where dis-ease comes from, is allowing a reaction of energy to fill your body. And so that's why I decided, sir, you can have your energy all to yourself in your car. You can drive down the road and think about how that man destroyed your life by going a little slower than I guess I was supposed to be going. But I'm not taking it in mine. So yeah, we have to move on.
We definitely need to move on. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, we got 17 slides to go through.
Oh, I'll just be.
Because we're only on check-in?
Yeah, we're only on check-in.
But it's okay.
Go ahead.
When I was studying for the PhD in psychology, there's a classic image they use, and if you look at the image one way, you see a young girl, and you look at the image the other way, you see an old hag. And from our work last week, the thing I was playing around with this week is, can I actually put my attention on the consciousness that is actually behind everybody I'm meeting, that is actually the same consciousness, And I notice that if I'm putting my attention on, say, Bess, because you're right in front of me and I'm very nearsighted right now, but on Bess' patterns, my patterns arise in response to her patterns. It's my patterns that don't like what her, But if I can put my attention on the consciousness behind her patterns and know that her patterns aren't even her truth, my patterns don't show up. That's kind of what I noticed.
That's great.
And it takes practice.
So
what she's saying right there takes a lot of practice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just, doesn't just happen. You practice.
I was going to
right?
say something else about it, but I didn't. All right. So
okay.
From How to Change Your Life.
We just did.
Yeah. Well, no, this is all good because I think one of the most important things about this class is firstly, to get what God is to you. I mean, and that's what we were just discussing. So I think it's important, and I think we need to just keep evolving in that and working on that. What a person believes and what he does with the belief creates his or her life. So yeah, you could say that you believe something, but if you don't do anything about that belief, if you're not acting in that belief, then your life isn't going to change. So a lot of times we go around and say, oh, I really believe in that and blah, 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 or I really believe that about money or whatever, but you're not acting that way. So it takes two things. It takes action and the belief, right? Understand, I'm going to send these to you. You don't need to write them down. Understand your spiritual, unlimited nature and the impartiality of the law and use it. So he's saying, that's basically what was in here, that we understand who we are and the power that we have, and that we're using this power, this law within us, the law of our being, that is impartial, doesn't care, it always says yes, and now we need to use it. We need to use it. So just thinking about it and philosophizing about it is not enough. We need to test it and use it. You don't have to understand the process. It goes on with or without you. So he's talking about the creative process. It's going on with or without us. We don't really need to understand it. We just need to use it. It's going on. We need to use it consciously. We talked about the creative process, spirit, law, form, right? It's going on the macrocosm. It's going on the microcosm. We see it all over. We already discussed this in the other classes. So we don't really know why it is doing this. We just know it is, and now it's going to go on with or without us, meaning that we need to use it consciously. Develop a mental equivalent of your desire. We talked about that on Sunday a little bit. Mental equivalent is what? Does anybody know? Somebody?
Mental equivalent?
No,
Mental equivalent,
no.
just think of mirror.
You have to create the mental
Yeah.
equivalent of your desire. You have to already envision it and feel it and embody it. It's like creating a spiritual prototype of a blueprint. It's like a blueprint.
So how's that different from just a plain vision?
No, it is a
It's the
vision.
same thing. It's a vision. Okay.
But you have to believe that you can have it. You have to believe that you have to embody it. Yeah, that you do have it. So it's like saying you have to become the thing, basically, is what it's saying. You have to become whatever it is, however you want to live your life. You have to become it before your life shows up that way. So if
the
you,
mental equivalent, right?
Right.
If we're talking just wealth, or just let's just use that feeling you get when you're not worried about any financial things, it's just flowing with ease. That's what you want to create. And when they say create a mental equivalent, we're embodying that before it shows up. So when that's why I call it the mirror for me. It's like, if it's wealthy, if it's healthy, that I act and come from a place of health and wealth, and then that's what I meet. Instead of waiting for my bank account to show me that I'm wealthy, or for the relationship to tell me that I'm lovable. I have to be lovable first and create that mental equivalent, and then the only thing I can possibly meet is love. Now you ask, why did you meet the guy with the finger? Well, I don't know, just so I could talk about it in class tonight.
because so you could send him some good energy. Who knows?
Yes,
Maybe
yes.
he needed somebody that
Maybe
didn't
he was
scream
my
back at him.
maybe he was my teacher.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he didn't. He needed somebody that wasn't going to scream back at him and be in his energy field, and maybe that changed his whole day.
I just want to, I know we're short on time, but the same thing happened to me driving right around here. And the funny thing is, I didn't know if I was going too slow or too fast. I had no idea why I did it. And so befuddled, I figured that's his world. This is Kauai for me, and like, it's not. I'm not going to be part of that world.
That's great. All right.
Bruce, what if there's this finger guy going around,
He might
and then we're
be.
going to find out that by the time we all get back together, you go, oh, I met the finger guy.
All right. Make yourself fully receptive with an attitude of acceptance of your good. That used to be the fourth step of treatment, was acceptance, is being willing to say, because a lot of times things don't show up for us in life because we feel like we don't deserve them. So we have to make ourselves open and
Biggie.
receptive to our good, to be expecting it, to just open up to it, to trust it, to know that it's there. But we are either pushing things away or we're pulling them toward us. We're energy. So if we can become an open, receptive being of totally ready to receive, that's what they're saying. How do you do that? It's a mental attitude. It's an emotional attitude to be expecting your good, to be open to it, to say, I deserve it, to move into that energy of gratitude, I think, too. Commit yourself to right, ask me questions if you want. Commit yourself to right action. Faith without works is dead. So in other words, once you've done your treatment or whatever it is, you have to take action. You can't just sit there and think about it. You have to just know that right action is there, and you'll know exactly what to do in every single solitary moment, and you will move your feet. Another way of saying it, we say treat and move your feet. So sometimes we move our feet aimlessly, but when we know that it's right action, then we know that we're going to say that to somebody today. You're just going to know, going to know exactly what to do in every single solitary moment. The universe is open to you to guide you and direct you and protect you and lead you the way, but you've got to start moving. Got to start moving. And then trusting right action, trusting yourself, trusting right action. Sometimes we do, when we do a treatment, we say at the end, and I know, and I release this to right action. So the law is going to take it, and it's going to be right action. It's going to bring it to you in the best, easiest, most beautiful way, and that would be right action. Does that make sense? Right action. You have to trust it. Do not outline or on how your manifestation will take place. In other words,
Does that make sense?
outlining is a big thing when you start to get in the way of the universe and figure out how it's going to happen or what kind of thing you're going to do. You know what I mean? It's like it's like you're going, now I'm going to go to the bank and there's going to be a person there and that person is going to write me a check for, whatever. I'm just saying you're actually outlining it, or you're saying, I know I want that house right there, so I know those people are going to, I'm exaggerating now, are going to move out, and I'm going to get that house, and this is exactly how it's going to happen. No, you don't know how it's going to happen.
I have such a simple, quick, beautiful hedge, 40-year-old. They over-trimmed it to the dead core, okay, and it was dry and dying. But I was praying, and I didn't realize it was outlining, and I got on a hot day. I was praying for rain because the bush was needing rain to grow. Well, unbeknownst to me, the gardener had then put sprinklers on it too. So since I was down in the details, I was not aligned with God. And today he said the bush has mold and is losing leaves because of the mold. And I went, oh, I'm praying wrong. Okay, and I went in and I said, green, healthy, however you do it.
Right, exactly.
Green,
so
healthy bush.
that's a good example, because it would be
Healthy,
like, okay, how am I going to do it? I'm going to start watering it now. Well, I mean, unless it's the right thing for you to do. But right, but if you just pray for health, you don't know how health is. First of all, you don't know how it's going to show up. It could be, it could show up in any way. You could, I don't know. I can't even tell you. The universe is it's intelligence, and it's going to bring it to you the quickest way possible. That's why I always add ease and grace to my treatments, because I had a friend, she had a shoulder, and she was really trying to get the shoulder back in place, and she kept treating for it because she couldn't lift her shoulder and this whole thing, and she went on a ski lift, and it slammed her in the shoulder. She got her shoulder back. Completed back into alignment. But and then it wasn't coldly there, so then the next thing that happened, she ended up falling, and then it was done. She was fine. But I was like, there's got to be an easier way. So I always say ease and grace, and divine right protection. Yes, Paul.
So the question, do you still keep going to the realtors? Do you still do your stock trading? Do you still exercise?
But just think, if you're coming from a higher place of trusting intelligence to work through you, you're gonna make better decisions, right?
Remember, you're coming.
But you still don't know. Like if you say, okay, actors have it all the time. We used to have this in LA. It would be like, we're going to make our money acting. That's what we're going to do. Instead of just saying, I am acting. I am creative, I am flowing, and I am also abundant. Money comes to me effortlessly and easily, and it can show up any way. It doesn't have to show up through my acting. It can show up anyway, so that you're not like outlining it. Like if you're doing stocks for money, let's say you want to be more abundant, you wouldn't think, oh, it can only come to me that way. Money comes to me. I happen to be doing stocks, and that's good, and I'm going to be successful. I'm successful doing the stocks and everything, but I'm just affluent, and it comes to me easily and effortlessly. Does that make sense? So you're not just pinpointing it to your job or to a particular person, whatever, right?
You still got to do the.
You're inspired to do stocks.
It's not a Sai Baba, as I was saying, where you're pulling out of the sky and you're going, I feel like a car. Yeah. Someday.
Yeah, I just wanted to share, because I have trouble, and I think this outlining is probably what I do. I'm like, I don't think this visualization stuff works, because then I'm expecting, so I guess, but you need to expect, but I have trouble with that. That's why I go into like, okay, let me just go move. But so the difference between outlining, I guess I need to hear it again.
It's very simple. It's getting in the way of the how it's going to happen. Okay, so let's say you want to have a successful yoga studio, right? And you do certain things, but you do your treatments for a successful yoga studio, and then you're guided and directed. But you might think it's only going to come to you by this one way, when it could be something totally different. Somebody over here could just say, you know what, I want to write you a check for $1 million because I think you're really good. And you're like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. But if you get in the way of it, it's got to be like this, and this is the way I'm going to do it, and this is going to show up, and that's going to show up, then you're telling the universe what to do. Does that make sense? Instead of just opening up to having a success, I'm using yoga studio because I know you have a yoga studio. I'm going to have a successful yoga studio. I have a successful yoga studio. I am guided and directed to the right people. The support is there for me. I just know exactly in every moment what to do. I'm guided, I'm guarded, I'm protected, I'm directed. It's so good, right? And then you do your work, you do your books and you do whatever you're going to do, but you don't get caught up in how it's going to happen. You stay open to expecting maybe, who knows, right? I mean, I've had odd things happen where I go, wow, how did it come that way? And, we get it a lot in the center because, we're totally donation based. And we'll if we get fixated on a certain person, that person's going to be the ones that are supporting this. Oh my God, it's so dangerous. And we just open up and say, no, CSL Kauai is prosperous. It's always flowing. And then all of a sudden, something, and it happens all the time.
It's back to control, Janet. That's what we're all back to. The control is because the reason we want to do the hows and the outlining, we want to do that because we haven't fully trusted. I'm going to really repeat that. We haven't trusted that it will unfold without me getting in the way and taking care of it. And so that doesn't mean I don't do my business. It doesn't mean I don't have the meeting. It doesn't mean I don't go to the realtor. But what it does mean to me is, for instance, I'll give you an example of the book that I'm writing, The Tale of Two Fathers, which is already, in my opinion, already a #1 bestseller. Because I already know that it's not going to help just a few people. By my experience, it's going to help a mass amount of people, from veterans to women who wonder why they stay with men, like my father, and blah, 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 blah. So I look at this book differently. I am so excited about it that I know I'll be commissioned for it before it's done. I know but I'm not going to go. And then I'm going to get a call probably from my friend in New York who I told about it, or I'm not going to passively aggressively try to work it. All I know is I have something that I just know is going to just be so good for some people or whatever people. Right. So it will. So if I get in the way going, and this way I see all the time people writing books and everything, they go, I got to find a publisher. Then if I don't publish it, then I'm going to sell. You haven't even just write the book.
Right.
But I know,
just get it out there. What did Wayne Dyer do? He got in the back of his car with his book, his first book, The Erogenous Zone, or whatever it was called, and gave it away to people, and pretty soon he was a best-selling author. So So
my thing is, what is the intention? What is the intention? The intention, do I say, it's a #1 bestseller? Oh, well, that's cool, because then you guys will all go, oh my God, Patrick, Sundays we can talk about it. But I'm saying that what's exciting about it is that I have something to say and I'm going to say it, and if I don't get it in the way, how do I know that somebody's not going to call me who saw that thing that we did here and go, oh my God, I saw that evening that you had. I'd like to commission this book right away. How long is it going to take you to really get it finished? I've got an editor for you. Well, it's all made up. Right. So why would I make up the struggle of I'll probably have to self-publish it, and then after I publish it, how am I going to market it? I mean, it's all made up, so make it up in your favor.
Okay, nurture your desire and trust the law of growth. Okay, the law of growth means that sometimes it takes a while. There's a law of growth, all right? And nurture it, and trust it, because it is unfolding perfectly. Why don't you turn the AC off for a minute? Okay, he turned it off. All right. We're going to take a break right as soon as we're done with these. Be reasonable. Work on one thing at a time. Don't get yourself overwhelmed, in other words. I think you were saying that the last week. I think I'm going to do a treatment for this. Focus on your small needs at first. When you're first practicing this, it just helps to start where you are. That's all. Yes. We get excited. The divine urge, we talked about it a little bit a couple of Sundays ago. And do you know what the divine urge is? It's any time you're feeling like you want to grow, or you're feeling something's happening, and that's what it is, because we're always expanding. It's that place within us that wants to get bigger, that wants to do something now, that wants to move, it's the divine urge. So trust that. It's all right. Listen to it. And emotional healing obviously is. This was all in the reading. Emotional healing means that sometimes there's just emotional healing that needs to take place before we can, and we'll talk about that more later. In other words, something within us is not right emotionally that's stopping us from our desires.
The kink in the hose.
Like kink in the hose. Mental realization is your goal as you let go of negation. So in other words, what you're looking for is the realization of who and what you are. And mental realization comes from spiritual realization, not the opposite.
Right.
Everything comes, it's downward causation. It comes from spirit, mind, and then law, and then body. Spiritual mind treatment will take us there, and then they talk about entering your closet. That's your mental closet, not a real closet. I mean, I guess you could go in the closet, but you know, to take that time to go within into your mental closet and meet your God, whatever that is there. So we'll go on to this after we take a very quick break, and we need to move.
Because we have a little exercise for you
Yeah, we have
guys.
a little-
That's going to take about 10 minutes of. In the meantime, Beth, we're going to leave that Bible quote right up here from. I just want you to know one thing, Beth. You are not alone.
Or
Did you do it over there too?
it's going around.
Oh.
This is going to be your what's it called? Whatever your
Principle.
Your principle for the week. The principle for, because it doesn't say principle on it. Your principle for the week is the power of your word.
This is a good one.
All right. Spirit is the great causative power of the universe. The word or thought of God eternally initiates the divine creative process. And this process, law, is continuously set in motion. You've got to trust your word, basically, is what it's about. Since human spirit is one with the universal spirit, the human subjective merges with the universal subjective. So in other words, your being is universal on the subjective side of life, which is the subconscious side of life. The universal subjective is you on that side, okay? All human thought is creative and reenacts in microcosm the divine creative process. So we've already said this a few times in the other classes, so just look at it and read it, and we'll talk about it next time. And the only reason I put that Bible quote is because I like that Bible quote. That thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and the light shall shine upon thy ways. In other words, when you say it, it's going to be done unto you. Unto you.
Unto use the
That's
is the
powerful.
word, too.
Now, you're going to get the slides for these. We're not going to go back through this again. These are all the words for God and stuff. We'll let you do that. But
Yeah.
we're going to talk about this now for a moment. This is about, okay, so God's all these qualities. The energy is all these qualities, right? And you don't have to think the thoughts and feelings that come to you from effects. It's called secondary causation in the science of mind. It means that you're creating your life from this, not from up here. You're down here in the form, you're looking at the form, and you're looking at the form and you're thinking that's what is, and so you are creating your life. So it's called secondary causation. You get to choose to think from up here is what it's saying. And Patrick's going to explain. Where's the little handout?
They've got it.
Okay, they already have it?
So
Oh, okay.
We don't have it up here, right?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No, because I couldn't put it up there.
Okay, this is my favorite one, more than the
No,
other.
they don't. They actually, that one. Okay. This is a great hand. This is great. Keep this in your notes forever and ever.
Well, I know that with not getting in the way of the house, that it will appear easily, effortlessly. I love this one. This is not in the books itself, but what I love about it, once you get it, basically it's talking about an old idea or a new idea. So Rita's talking about secondary causation. That means that we're creating from the very condition that we're wanting to get rid of. Does that make sense? So we're trying to fix everything from the very thing that we're trying to, what is Einstein's quote? You can't fix from the level of that it was created. That's exactly what this is. So if we follow this, but if you look at the old idea, that's what we keep doing, right? It's kind of like the hamster. We just keep going in a circle. Things never going to work out, I'll tell you that. Just anytime you say something like, things are never going to work out, this always happens to me, just add, and so it is at the end of it, and it will definitely get your mind programmed off the hamster wheel. Because if you go, I'm never going to get this, I'll tell you that one. I'm really not good at math, and so it is. I never create money to, I always, mine was this. God, I'm always going to the 11th hour before my manifestation. And I'm thinking, and so it is, and so it is, and so it is. That's what this one is. The old idea just keeps regurgitating itself, going over and over. The new idea, on your right, interrupts habitual thinking, and it goes in and it sets the new pattern. Oh, yeah.
But you have
He
to...
wants to zero in.
You have to make the decision that you're at choice, that you have the power to
Absolutely.
choose what you're going to think.
No, you wouldn't, but you do. Yeah, that was kind of like, that was called, what I like to call that is Patrick's spiritual sarcasm.
It's like just what you said about Moen. You said, he always shows up this way. He never makes his bed. He's this, he's that, and so it is. And so he keeps showing up that way until you got a new idea. You went up here and said, okay, he's this, he's that, he can be this, he can be that.
I'm going to see him
That
differently.
was thinking, I'm going to see him differently from that. That's thinking from a new idea. Does that make sense?
And that takes training because we're used to, I don't know if you guys feel this, but we're trained on the old, this is the pattern that we work, on the old idea. We take it, oh my God, my finances, and then we start, and then what happens is you start getting data based on your past to prove to you how money doesn't come easily and effortlessly, or how the last year with Moen or whatever, he's been behaving this way. So now I have to learn how to deal with him behaving this way because he's been doing it now for a month. And so you're going back to the old idea. How am I going to do? And then this time you said, oh, what if I saw him differently? I felt him differently. What if I felt differently about how I see him? Then all of a sudden, the seed idea drops into the soil, and then you start nurturing it with more and more. Wow, I've got a very intelligent son. I think I need to stop doing that and start focusing on, next thing you know, pow. He's getting out of bed by himself. Pow. He's doing the dishes or whatever it is. Very exciting stuff, guys.
Makes sense?
And especially this week, the principle about that. I know in the beginning it's like my word has power, but it does. And all it's going to take is to completely letting it filter in. And not to argue, you'll hear us say a lot, argue for your limitations. Because we do that sometimes because for me, there's a part of us that trusts that it won't work more than we trust that it will. I know nobody in this room, but I'm talking about in the outside world. That there's a part of us that has been built up. Writing this book has helped me because I was thinking about this idea of disappointment. A lot of disappointment was coming, so I have prepped myself just in case of the disappointment. We call it foreboding joy. The other shoe's going to drop. So this is why your word is powerful, because you say, you know what, up until now, I have always been so afraid of disappointment that if I really went for it, it wasn't going to happen. Somewhere it would fall short. Instead of this, where your word says, you know what, up until now I have thought that. But from this moment on, I heard this from somebody when I was really young in this science. They said, Patrick, up until now, you have been insecure about ba, 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 ba. However, from this moment on, it's a new Patrick, a new idea. I've got this. That type of thing. Rita?
Does everybody understand that concept called secondary causation?
Yeah. So we don't want to start changing our lives based on the things from the past. Unless They seem to work for you, and then
Well, yeah, if they're like it's creating, it's thinking from the effect, from the emotion of the effect. You know, for instance, money never shows up for me. You're creating from that, because money hasn't been showing up for you, and you're looking at it, and you're going, my bank account's empty. Money's not showing up for me. It never shows up
so
for
the
me.
causation
So
is you start creating.
instead of taking yourself up to first cause and saying, God is abundant, therefore I am abundant. Money always shows up.
Right,
Yeah.
right. No, well, secondary, well, it's the same thing. Why would you want to do that? So let's get clear on it. Secondary causation is where we have probably been most of our development. We've done it, secondary causation. So we're trying to move from secondary causation into first causation, which is
Never been touched by anything.
and never been touched by anything but pure potentiality. There is not one person that has ever been healed, even with the help of our wonderful physical doctors, that has not allowed itself to be healed in first cause. If healing comes from secondary causation, meaning that you've said it has to come from this way, and that doctor, and you know, we've Googled it to the point of just, you know, that we could get a degree ourselves. When we have done that, then we get the opportunity to not do that and to say, because what will happen is it will come back. That's what happened when people go, how did this come back? Not because you're a bad person, not because you did anything wrong, but we depended only on the medical doctor. And we should work for me, I work in harmony with the medical field. That's what this teaching tells us. We work in harmony with it, not in, you've got all the power, and if you can do it, then I'll be healed.
So it's about, you don't have to think the thoughts and feel the feelings that come to you from effects. So you're thinking about disease and you're feeling things about it. And so you're thinking those thoughts, and then you're creating from those thoughts, instead of, like Patrick said, going back up to first cause from where there's never been touched by anything, the infinite field of intelligence, infinite field of potential that doesn't know. It's like we have that statement, principle is not bound by precedent. Principle is not bound by what's happened in the past. So you're either creating from the past or you're creating new. And I think Umberto's example, it's simple, and it really shows it simply. That when he started to think different thoughts about his son and not relegated on what he was doing, he took himself to a different level, and then it showed up differently for him. Does that make sense?
Because you were no
right?
longer living in the effects, Umberto. The effects were the behavior of the son. You were basing all of your decision-making, everything, based on the effects. And then you said, this isn't working, so I have to go to another cause. Go. We don't need that. That's where we're going right now. Good.
Going right here. Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We're going to go back to treatment, all right? And we're at a very important time in our
History.
our history. And there's a lot of unrest concerning the upcoming election. And this is going to be your duty today, is to write a treatment for that. You're going to have to come up with what the purpose is. That's the condition. There's much unrest concerning the upcoming election. Okay.
And everything that surrounds it,
and
not just the actual
confusion,
election.
and you know, there's a lot going on, a lot of divisiveness, all of that kind of stuff.
People are flipping people off.
Yeah. So you're going to have to find the purpose for this treatment. Now, this is a perfect example of secondary causation. If we keep thinking this, there's much arrest concerning the upcoming election. We're going to keep creating more. That's creating from the effect, the feelings of the effect, our fears or whatever. All right. But we're going to go to first cause, and we're going to come up with a purpose for this treatment, and we're going to write the treatment. So there's 7 of you.
4 and
4
3.
and 3. So
How that's going to work
go
when
in a
she's
pod
passing this
together.
out, 4 and 3, and you're going to get in a little group, and then what you're going to do is follow.
And if you don't remember what
Yeah,
the steps,
follow
I'm
the
going to go through these
steps.
steps one more time with you, because
And just this is only for fun, and the purpose. Just so you'll know, let's start with the purpose. The purpose is what this treatment is for, where you're directing that energy, not all the details of it, but just like say. if mine was for health, I would be directing, my purpose would be to experience full health in my body temple, this body. And then I would go about this.
So we want you to come up with the purpose, all right? So you know what you're treating about. Now, let me just go through these steps real quickly again in case
How
you
did they
forgot
know
them.
that's the way I was doing that? Wait.
All right. So your first step, recognition. Can you just somebody raise their hand and tell me what recognition is?
Hold on. What?
Only one God.
Right.
Only one God. God
power.
is everywhere. Yeah, right? Or the power, the source, whatever you want to call it. It's everywhere present, right? It's on this little piece of paper that you still have, the one from last week. Then what's unification?
I am that.
You're that, right? Very easy. Then you have your realization, which is basically your affirmation, right? Then you give thanks, right? That's simple. And then you release it as law, and so it is. Okay? So the biggest part of this is going to be coming up with the realization, but come up with the purpose first, because then you'll be a lot more clearer.
And
So
since
if this is the condition, there is much unrest concerning the upcoming election, you need to come up with what the purpose is. all right?
Okay, so one thing I do want to add to this, since Jamie, I'm going to put you over in this group. And because Adara, because you answered so many great questions, that I just knew. Yeah, and Ron, no, you stay right there. No, you stay right here. Yeah. Oh, you're just gonna. Well, no, I just wanted to put her in there too, because she's been and.
Well, because she's been in the
What?
classes and you guys
Did you already
haven't,
know
and then
that? Did you already?
Adara-
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. No, because they've got Ron.
Yeah.
They've got they had all three of you over there. I know that. That was not a good. They had all three of you over there. Okay.
Good. Put your seats back, please. Beep. Time up.
We'll just do it from where you are.
Just as long as you're on. So what I noticed is, just turn a little bit towards us, though. I mean, I don't care if where you. What I thought was very interesting isn't it nice to collaborate with that? That's what half of this exercise to me is about, is that you can come together and collaborate. And if we did this in our nation, in our world, and being able to really see what I was hearing. What do you think of this? I like that word. Can we use that one? Can we have that? I was eavesdropping, by the way. But can we do that? Can we do? Oh, do you like that? No, that doesn't work for me. Oh, well, let's find a word that does. I mean, that kind of collaboration is just amazing. So
Come up with. What did you come up with?
are you the spokesman?
Spokesman?
Okay. All right.
Next
So
week.
our group, the purpose for our treatment was, the purpose for our treatment was for peace and calm throughout the election, and for national unity and the greatest good for unity and the greatest good to unfold. For step one, recognition, we wrote, there is one universe, one source of all things. And for step two, our unification, nice and simple, I am one with the universe. And then for step three, realization, the universe is all good, all peace, and I declare there is only peace and only unity, and that the greatest good is unfolding now. And step four, we give thanks for the good, for the peace, and the unity that has already been manifested. And step five, release. I release my word as law, knowing it is already done.
Very nice. There's only one thing I would change. In your declaration or realization, the universe is, this should be up here.
Yeah.
Because you're telling what the universe is. So once you say, so they had the treatment for peace. Where is it? There is one universe, source of all things. That universe is all good, all peace, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, that should be up there. And then your declaration. So therefore, because of that, because I am that, then blah, blah, blah. So it kind of like one feeds into the other. So if you claim the universe.
Can you explain what
Okay,
up
so
there is
they-
for them? Because I don't think they know what step.
In step one, when they claimed what the universe was, they should have put, in recognition, they should have put all those attributes of the universe, peace and harmony and order. And its universe is a universe of peace and harmony and order. And I know that since it's everywhere present, that's what I am, blah, blah, blah. The rest of it was fine. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
real quick before we jump over there, how did it feel to work like that? Did you feel like you were Bruce?
No, it was great to work as a group, and now they call it a team, I guess. But but it's great to work as a group and collaborative and share intellectual thoughts together and build on each other's thoughts.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we're standing. Yes, we're standing. Okay.
Why is there only two of you standing?
Because Ron is anchoring the energy.
Oh, you're dancing?
Yeah, we're dancing. Okay.
I guess I didn't put any,
Okay. So our purpose is that that the election is complete with the highest good in divine right action for all, with ease and grace, peace and acceptance, harmony within and without for all. Recognition. There is one power, one source, one consciousness, one life, one breath, one law, one peace, one harmony that is and manifests through, as, and from all of creation. I am that. I am the beloved expression of that source as I open to express the truth of my divine nature within, the divinity of all, one life, one love, one consciousness, eternally one. The election completes with the highest good for all, with divine right action everywhere, with ease and grace, peace and harmony, and acceptance of all diverse points of view and people. I am so grateful to know that this is so, that this is divine truth, for the abundant, perfect expression of all good for all in this election, beyond our wildest dreams. It's so amazing. We're dancing on the streets in gratitude for what we created in this election. So I release my word as law with joy and celebration and gratitude, knowing it is already so. I let it go, and I let God manifest it perfectly now. And so it is.
hey, that was awesome. Oh, really good job.
Words were Ron's.
Why didn't you want to dance, Ron? What's the matter with you? All right, this is
Oh,
good.
that's beautiful.
That was beautiful. I
Beautiful.
felt it. I felt it. That was great. That was great.
Yeah,
In fact,
but
why don't you
feeling.
send it to me? I would like to put that somewhere. Can you send it to me? Like, can you type it and send it to me? I won't be able to replicate the beautiful expression, physical expression, and voice that went with it. But yeah. All right. Next week. In Change Your Life, read 207 to 225. Yeah, 225. Then that principle we
got the
already gave you.
principle.
Use that principle. Continue your prayer work and the creative ideas. And you're going to have a hand in written treatment. So you have the steps there now. So you're just going to hand in something you wrote. And your purpose should be focused on any goal in your life. And make sure to number your steps so we know what they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, anything that it's open. So
you
whatever's
can do-
going on in your life that you would like to treat for, go
And you
for it.
have the steps. So what we're really looking for is your understanding of the steps.
For now.
So, yeah. So if you don't feel comfortable using a whole bunch of flamboyant words or whatever, just
Why are you looking
just
at me?
steps. I'm not looking at you.
She goes, if you're not comfortable making flamboyant steps, wow.
All right. So,
Good job, you
any
guys.
last questions before we close
Yeah, you
out?
guys just absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're going to get it too. But okay.
So you got a treatment, 207 to 225. Work on your principle, and continue your prayer work in the creative ideas. There you go.
And if you have questions from
And the last one is just focus on any goal in your life and make sure to number your steps. So,
yeah, you're
yes.
going to turn in. That we get to look at them. I love that.
You guys, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I love the conversation we had tonight
Yeah.
about God. So
Yeah, me
and
too.
our our
Always,
feelings about it.
always.
And about the
Bible
words and the Bible and
yeah.
all of that, because I think it's important, because that's all the richness that we're bringing to this, and all the, we get to decide what things work for us and what don't, and leave this behind and embrace this, and or maybe we don't want any of it. We just want to stay the way we were, which is fine if it's working for us. So I think it's good. So
I
I'm
love
happy.
the fact that we have conversation based on questions, and I love it when someone says, I'm really not there, I'll take it in, I'll have a moment with it. That's where it is. Where the only time that I direct it differently is when we spend, like, say, a half hour, an hour defending a position, which we did not do tonight. We just were stating how we saw things. And that's what I liked when I was hearing the group. They were saying, I don't like that word, or I prefer this word, or I like unity. That's how it works. But if it says, I don't even want to do the treatment, if it says, blah, that's not going to work. We're never going to get anywhere if we keep arguing for our limitations. And so we weren't doing that. But that way we know that we are unlimited, and we get to use from that power. Good.
All right.
So
So
Rita's going to take this.
let's just take a moment. Oh my God. I just center in this moment. And I recognize that power and that presence and that essence and that divine energy that's moving through everything. That is the very breath breathing me. That is the very breath breathing each and every person here. That divine intelligence that is our mind in action. It's all here, right here where we are. And I am so grateful to know that, and grateful for this evening that we have shared together, and all the thoughts, all the ideas, all the conversations, all the questions, all the answers, all of it that came up to be known. And I know that each and every one of us has that knowing within us, has that divine intelligence within us to answer those questions for ourselves. And I know and claim that we answer them in the highest way possible for our lives, knowing that our lives, in answer to those questions, are just expanding in amazing, amazing ways, in abundance, in health, in creativity, and in right relationship to everything. I am so grateful for this time that we have spent tonight, and for all that has transpired. And I know it has been good. And I know now, as we go on our way, as we leave here to move to our next journey, whatever that is, as we go home, as we relish this evening, I just know that everything is unfolding perfectly in our lives. And yes, the universe always says yes. Our lives are unfolding perfectly in divine right order at all times. Divine right action is in place. And I know that whatever it is that we desire is ours right here and right now, because of who and what we are. And I know our word is powerful, and I know we just get to take this all with us as we go out into the world and enjoy our lives and spread the love and spread the light and all of it. It is good. And so I am grateful, grateful, grateful for this time, for this manifestation of my word as we leave here, for all the good. I am grateful. And so I just release my word. I let it go. I get out of the way, and I allow it to be so as law, as we affirm together. And so it is.